Hey my lovelies, your girl Chris here. Welcome back to my channel on social. You guys, I am back with a third sewing challenge. My third sewing challenge in 4 days. Before I continue into this video, if you can hear the zzz in the background, unfortunately, my neighbor is having the grass cut. I swear you guys, I have absolutely no luck when it comes to recording my videos. Usually I have to record my videos in the evenings when I get home from work, and by that time you can hear the glorious sounds of the Caribbean in the sense of the animal noises that you can pick up in the background. Now today I finally had an opportunity to film during the middle of the day, and guess what? The grass is being cut. I'm really hoping that it's not distracting you guys too much, but Lord have mercy, please bear with me and these videos. But let's get down into the crux of today's video. We are talking about a third sewing challenge, and this one, unlike the other two, is going to be running throughout the month of December. It is the Sew the Trends Sewing Challenge, and it is being hosted by T of Crumpets Tea and Sewing, as well as Martika of Martika J Makes, and Talisha of Creativity by T. Those are the three hosts for the challenge, and there are 4 ambassadors who are Sara, Nateida, Karon, and of course myself. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of the handles down below in the description box so that you guys can go ahead and check out all of the hosts and all of the amazing ambassadors. Each of the hosts and all of the ambassadors either have or will have videos right here on YouTube running throughout the month of November as sort of inspiration for you guys to get your juices flowing so that you can go ahead and enter this challenge. I'm going to go ahead as well and pop the details of the challenge here on screen so that you can know exactly what you need to do to enter this challenge. I do know off the top of my head that it will be running throughout the month of December, and so you will have to make that item of clothing between the 1st and the 31st of December. Now in this instance, you will have to make an item of clothing, and it must be for an adult, and it has to feature a current trend. So that's where I come in. Now, I don't really consider myself to be a trendy person. I kind of sort of just sew what I feel like when I feel like. But that being said, I do like to know what's going on in terms of the current trends, and like every other human being, sometimes your girl goes ahead and takes a bait and just jumps on a particular bandwagon. Now, I have assessed so many trends for this season, and one of my most favorite ones has to be animal print, you guys. If you have been around my channel for any time at all, then you already know that I am pretty obsessed with animal print, but I am not sharing an animal print make with you guys today. I am instead going to be focusing on the vest trend. Now, I don't mean a marina, in case that is what you think about when you hear the term vest. I'm talking about a waistcoat. Depending on where you are, there are different terminologies for different items of clothing, but I'll go ahead and pop on screen some inspiration pictures so that you can have an exact idea of what's going to be coming up in today's video. Now, I thought it might be useful to share with you guys 5 vest sewing patterns that you can use to highlight this trend. And so I'm just going to grab for my handy dandy notebook, aka my iPad, so that I can walk you through my top 5 picks. Alright, I've got it. But just before I start talking about today's patterns, you might recognize the top that I'm wearing. This is Simplicity 8889, and it is a Mimi G pattern, and I just showcased this pattern here on the channel on Sunday as part of the Sew 2 Celebrate 2 Sewing Challenge being hosted by Yvette of Blossom Sandwich to celebrate 2 years of the Stash Hub app. Now, if you missed that video, I'll go ahead and pop it in right here. Run on over once you finish watching this video and check that one out as well. Now, back to the vest patterns. Now, the first vest pattern that I want to share with you is the Bella Loves Patterns Bennie vest. Now, the Bennie vest, I think of the 5 patterns that I'm going to be sharing with you today, is the least size inclusive. This one runs in a US 2 to an 18, which is for a bust of 31.5 inches, up to a bust of 44 inches. Now you guys, I have a 40.5 to 41.5 inch bust. It really just depends on the time of the month, and so I would fall in the size 18. Now I consider myself to be like a mid-size sewist, and funnily enough that means I will almost max out the sizing on this pattern. So again, not the most size inclusive pattern, but I do think it's really cute. Now the Bennie vest also has 2 different height bands. I really like when patterns consider height bands, you guys. I think so often we do get caught up on the circumference measurements, but I do think that the height measurements are also quite important in terms of securing a really great fit. Now the first height group is for somebody who is 5 foot 3 inches tall, and the second height group is for 5 foot 7 inch model. Now the Bella Loves Patterns Bennie vest features princess seams at both the front and the back, as well as welt pockets, and there is an additional tie at the back to help cinch in the waistline and give just a little bit more of waist definition. Now as I'm looking at the web page, unfortunately my iPad has gone ahead and converted the cost of this pattern into local currency, but I'll go ahead and pop it here on the screen. Now it retails for 40 Eastern Caribbean dollars, which I think may be around 16 or so US dollars. Again, that is just me trying to do the quick math off the top of my head, but I will go ahead and pop it here on screen so you can know what this pattern retails for. Now this vest has a V-line at the front, and it is fully lined, which means depending on what fabric you choose, you maybe can go ahead and make this vest reversible. Now you guys, love having patterns that are pretty versatile, and it seems to me that maybe with a little bit of tweaking I would go ahead and make this vest reversible. Of course I have not seen the instructions just yet because I myself do not own this pattern, but I do think it might be something that I might consider purchasing. It really just depends on the price point. Now usually I don't mind paying up to 18 or so US dollars for an indie pattern, but I do have a little bit of an issue when it is more restricted in terms of the sizing. So if it is about 10 or so US dollars, then I don't mind buying something that is less size inclusive. But if I'm gonna drop like 18 US dollars on this pattern, then you better believe I would definitely want it to be size inclusive. And I also like when those sizes are all included in the one pattern envelope. Now I know that is not always possible, so on my part that is probably wishful thinking, but it's just something for you to bear in mind as well if you want to go ahead and pick this one up. Now the second pattern I wanted to share with you guys today is the Just Patterns Freja vest. I'm hoping that is how it's pronounced. It is spelled F-R-E-J-A. I'm going to go ahead and assume that J is pronounced like a Y. I'm going to pronounce it Freja. Now you guys, when I saw the Freja vest, it had just released, and I was super disappointed because I had already gone ahead and bought the pattern that I made up for this video and had started doing the fitting adjustments. Had I not, I definitely think I would have opted for the Freja vest instead. Now the Freja vest is described as a sleek, semi-fitted vest that embodies a modern and minimalistic style. It has princess seams to create a smooth contoured fit and a defined waistline. Now, stick a pin. I myself, you guys, much prefer a defined waistline because I am a rectangular body shape, and I just find that garments that are sort of fitted at the waistline just give me a little bit more shaping and help to break up my torso from my legs. So my preference is to have some defined shaping, and so this is a major selling point for me. Now this vest, also like the other vest, is fully lined, but this one reaches the lower hip. It has a sort of slash at the center front, and then it goes all the way down to the high hip. Now that again I really like. Most of the vest patterns that I have seen sort of hit just below the natural waistline, and I really do like that this one is a little bit longer. Now this one also has 2 pocket options, discreet welt pockets for a refined tailored look, and then practical rounded patch pockets for a casual style. Now, if I were making this one up, I definitely think I would go ahead and make those welt pockets. Now, I recently have had my first go at sewing welt pockets when I was working on my Jessica blazer. That one has not yet made an appearance here on the channel, but hopefully it will be here sooner rather than later. And they're not so bad, you guys. I thought that they would have been super difficult to do, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to get it done without much hair pulling. Now, for this pattern, the company recommends medium weight woven fabrics with good drape and gives examples such as wool suiting, wool crepe, lightweight wool tweed, cotton twill, linen, and linen cotton blends. So lots of different substrates that you can use to make up this pattern. Now let me see if I can find some sizing information. Alright, so this pattern is drafted for a model of 5'5" tall, and it runs from a 34 up to 60 inches in terms of the size range. It has been drafted for a BC cup, and there is a second size range from 46 up to 60, which has been drafted for a double D cup. Again, kudos to Just Patterns for having not only 2 different size bands, but also drafting for 2 different cup options. I myself will go for the BC cup because I am a C cup, and I would go for the 34 to 60 in terms of the size band. Now, for the size range 34 to 46, that accounts for a bust of 31.5 inches up to 41 inches, and then the 46 up to 60 size range accounts for a bust again of 41 inches up to a bust of 57.5 inches, bearing in mind that this second size band is drafted for a double D cup. So if you guys usually have to perform a full bust adjustment on your B cup patterns and you are at the higher end of the spectrum towards the double D cup, then you will be delighted to know that you will not need to perform that full bust adjustment on this pattern. For those of you who are in between those sizes, you may either have to do a full bust adjustment or a small bust adjustment, as the case may be, but do not skip this adjustment. In my experience, performing a full bust adjustment is invaluable in terms of the fit. Now, just like the first pattern from Bella Loves Patterns, this one retails at 40 Eastern Caribbean dollars. Again, I'm gonna have to go ahead and do some quick math, but I'll be sure to pop the retail value on the screen. I would estimate it to be around 15 or 16 US dollars, but I need to verify so that I can be bringing you accurate information. Now, the third pattern I want to share with you is the Otto vest by Seamwork. Now, Seamwork patterns are a part of like a membership scheme, but you can purchase the patterns individually if that is your preference. Now, the Otto vest PDF sewing pattern is described as an advanced beginner sewing pattern, and it is a lined vest with timeless straight cut and modern details. It features a V neckline and there are princess seams, but these ones run right towards the shoulder blade. The first 2 patterns that I spoke of, the princess seams ran towards the arm side. This one goes right the way up to the shoulders. Now, this vest has a V neckline as well, and it does have a shaped hem that falls just below the natural waist. There are buttons and buttonholes to contend with, just as they were in the first 2, although I did not mention that. Those vests close with buttons and buttonholes, and this one has 3 buttonholes and 3 buttons. That means if you don't so much like doing buttonholes, then this might be the top pick for you because there are only 3 buttonholes. Now, in terms of the sizing, the Seamwork patterns are drafted for a C cup, and the curvy patterns are drafted for double D cup. They are both drafted for a height of 5'8", and I personally love that because I am 5'8.5", and so the height band for me on this pattern is probably closest to my natural height. Now, for the 0 to 18 size band, that is for a bust of 32 inches up to a bust of 46 inches, and then the 12 to 30 is for a bust of 40 inches up to a bust of 60 inches. So really size inclusive in terms of the sizing structure, but they are split across 2 different size bands. Again, the 0 to 18 and then the 12 to 30. I like that there is some overlap in the sizing, so that means if you're right the way in between the smaller size band and the larger size band, then you account for that overlap and buy the most appropriate pattern based on your required bust measurements and your required cup size. Now you can decide to join Seamwork and get access to I think over 200 patterns, or you can just go ahead and pick up this vest which retails for US $8. So definitely really great price on the Seamwork Otto vest. Alright, so that is vest number 3. Let's move on to vest number 4. The fourth vest that I wanted to share with you is actually the Pompom waistcoat pattern by Maison Fauve. Is that how you pronounce it, you guys? I'm hoping that it is. Now, Maison Fauve is a French company. From what I gather, this pattern does come as well in English, and you guys, it is for free. Free. Definitely a plus when it comes to this pattern. Now, the beautiful pom-pom waistcoat is a wardrobe essential, says Maison Fauve. Now, like the other vest patterns, this one does also have a v-neck as well, but you guys, I think this one has facing pieces instead of being fully lined. At least that's what it looks like on the line drawings. Now, instead of having princess seams right the way up to the shoulder, this one has darting at the front of the vest, and then there is no true side seam. So there's a front panel, and then there is a side panel which contemplates some of the front and some of the back, as well as the underarm area, and then there is a back panel. Now, this one also has welt pockets and has a shaped hem. There are darts in the back, and there are also ties and a buckle at the back to provide a little bit more waistline shaping if that is your preference. Now, this pattern comes in a size 34 up to 52, but from what I'm seeing here on my iPad, it is a little bit difficult to tell what the sizing is. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this is a 34 up to a 52, so not very size inclusive at all, but do bear in mind that unlike the other 3 patterns, this 4th pattern is for free. Now, the final vest pattern that I want to share with you guys today is the pattern that I actually went ahead and sewed up. It is the Pattern Scout Birch vest. Now, the Birch vest retails for $16 US. How come this one didn't do the conversion? Anyways, this one retails for $16 US. It does have a sort of scooped, slightly rounded neckline. There are princess seams both in the front and the back, and it closes with 4 buttonholes and buttons. Unlike the others, this one does not include any type of pocket, and it also omits that back tie and buckle. Now, I didn't find that to be a big deal because this one does have quite a bit of shaping at the waistline, and then it flares out just below the natural waistline. So it has a sort of fit and sort of flare, sort of silhouette, which I find particularly flattering on a rectangular body shape such as myself. And I don't know if I'm going to like the ties and the buckle situation at the back. Now, fair enough, it will make for a better fitting garment probably, but I do think that that is going to add too much bulk to my back, and when I sit on my chair at work and have to lean back, and I'm likely to wear a vest like this to the office, then I'm not sure how comfortable that will be for sitting all day long. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm not sure if I'd actually quite like that. Now, the Birch vest comes in a size 0 up to 30, which is for a bust. I'll give you the high bust measurements because this one includes cup sizes. So for the high bust of 29 up to 54, and then there are 3 bust cup options: the B cup, the C cup, and then the D cup. So I really like that this pattern has 3 different cup options. I myself did the size 12 blended out to a size 14 in the C cup option. I chose my size based on my high bust measurement. I chose my cup size based on the difference between my full bust and my high bust, which is 3 inches. And then I blended out to give myself a little bit more wiggle room at the waistline. Now, I'm really happy with how my vest turned out. I'll go ahead and pop either either a twirl or some pictures or something here on the screen so that you can see how my finished garment turned out. Now I did decide to make it up using some leftover fabric from my stash. I had been working on the Riviera trousers by NH Patterns. They have made a couple debuts here on the channel. I'll go ahead and pop the link in right here so that you can run on over and check those out in more detail. But I had a little bit of fabric left over and I knew I wanted to make a matching vest with my top. Now in terms of lining my vest, because this one is fully lined, I actually used the remnants from this make to line the front of my vest. I did not have enough to line the back of my vest, and so I decided to use self fabric for lining of the back of my vest. Now I'm really happy with how my vest turned out. I love that this one has princess seams. I much prefer princess seams over darting, and I did have to play around with the location of the princess seams to better suit my body. So I had to go ahead and lower the apex of the princess seam because your girl has 2 kids, and so my boobs don't sit as proud as I would like them to sit. And so I went ahead and lowered the apex of my princess seam on my Birch vest just to give myself a better fit with that princess seam over my bust area. Now I also did a 1/2 inch sloping shoulder adjustment, and I went ahead and raised the natural waistline by 1/2 inch, as well as doing a 1/4 inch sway back adjustment. Now I have come to learn over the last couple of years of playing around with sewing and fitting that some adjustments are pretty standard for me, and these ones just about are. Now I think if I were to make this pattern again, I might consider even sizing up by 1 size just to give me a more oversized look. I did wear my vest over the Grain Line Archer button-down shirt, and it was a comfortable fit for me. I didn't feel like it was too tight, but just to give me a more casual and relaxed look, I think for my next version I would consider sizing up. Now in terms of the Grain Line Archer, I do have a stitch by stitch series here on the channel, which is a full sew along for the Grain Line Archer. I'm sharing with you guys all of my tips and tricks for sewing any sort of button down shirt or shirt dress, conquering collars and collar stands, button plackets, buttons and buttonholes, that sort of thing. And if you might find that series helpful, then I'll go ahead and drop the link in right here so you can run on over and check that out. Overall, if I were to rate my vest, I would give it a 9 out of 10 because I really do love it. I love that I chose to use these gold buttons that I had in my stash just to bring out, I think, that lovely cobalt blue. And because I have so much gold jewelry, then I think it will fit perfectly into my wardrobe. So let me know down in the comment section whether you like my vest pattern, whether you will consider making this pattern or any of the other 4 vest patterns that I shared with you. Leave me the comments down below and let's talk about vest patterns. Now if you enjoyed this video, also be sure to go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. I really want to say a special thank you to T, to Martika and to Talisha for having me as part of the Sew Your Trends ambassadorship. And as well, I want to go ahead and give a special shout out to my other co-ambassadors, Sara, Karon and Nateida. Be sure to go ahead and check out their videos on their respective YouTube channels. Now you guys, that is all I needed to share with you guys today. Be sure to go ahead and enter this challenge. You have the entire month of December to sew up your trend. Now I know December is likely to be just a little bit busier for a lot of us who celebrate Christmas, but if you are going to be sewing throughout the month of December, then go ahead and consider squeezing in this challenge, and I look forward to seeing all the makes over on Instagram on the 31st of December. Now you guys, until next time, stay calm, stay cool, stay safe, and absolutely keep sewing.